right, let's get it. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up here on today's show, some intriguing draft news as we take a look ahead to the 2025 NFL Draft, which is coming up in about a month from Green Bay, Wisconsin. By the way, here on this show, we'll be live for every single day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every round, every selection. So be sure to join our draft coverage. And of course, in the lead up to the draft, we're giving you all types of information pertaining to the Niners draft. And on today's show, some of the initial pre-draft visits are now known, and the prospects who the Niners are meeting with are pretty exciting. In particular, two players who we're talking about on today's program. Before we take a look at those two players, whether or not they're good options for San Francisco come draft time, we're closing in on another milestone. Ladies and gentlemen, how about this? 800 people away from 160,000 subscribers. So if you want Niners shows like this every single day year-round, that's informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking coverage where you have a voice, be sure to lock us in and hit that sub button. So those two pre-draft visits that we know as of now for San Francisco, as they've kept things a little bit under the vest since the NFL Combine as far as prospects who are going to head to Santa Clara for these pre-draft visits. Mike Green, Marshall edge rusher, going to meet with the Niners. So too is Harold Fannin Jr., a tight end at a Bowling Green State, who had arguably the best single season in college football history for a tight end. Scouting reports, information, analysis, and opinions on these two players coming up here over the next several minutes. And, of course, we'll start off with Mike Green here. Really intriguing player, but does come with some question marks. He started his college career at Virginia. He was there in 2021, 2022, got suspended for the entire 2022 season, and then after that he transferred to Marshall. So he went from ACC football to a lower level of football, and the last two seasons he played with Marshall. First team All-American, though, in 2024, Sun Belt Player of the Year this past season as well. So ACC to the Sun Belt, and he had 17 sacks and 23 tackles for loss. Both of those numbers led all players in college football. The questions around him, some legal concerns, some character issues. He's twice been accused of sexual assault, one time in high school, another time at Virginia. A lot of speculation that that's why he transferred. He denied that, but he was suspended by Virginia back in 2022. He did address this directly at the NFL Combine, so I do give him credit for that. He said there's accusations out there. I've never been questioned. I've never been asked. Nobody ever asked me a question about what happened before I departed from Virginia. It was just accusations that caused me to leave. I've done nothing wrong. You can ask anybody that knows me how I am. I think what everybody just needs to know is I'm not this guy that everybody's trying to portray me to be. That's online. That's talking about something that they don't know about. Even with those character concerns, I took a look at where some of the top NFL draft analysts have Mike Green on their respective big boards. And what that means is where they have Mike Green ranked among all draft prospects going into the 2025 draft. And so Mel Kiper has Mike Green as his 15th best player. Daniel Jeremiah, 21st. Dane Brugler, higher than them both at 12th. And those are three of the top NFL draft analysts out there. In Mel Kiper's scouting report for Mike Green, here's what he had to share. Green, who led the FBS in sacks this past year, extremely explosive off the edge, shows good bend, but his game isn't all speed. He also displayed power at the Senior Bowl. Green also knows how to seal the edge against the run and pursues well laterally. But what I love most about his game is how he mixes up his pass rush moves. Green was an ultra-explosive and productive edge rusher for the Thundering Herd. This coming from Daniel Jeremiah. He jumped on the radar with an outstanding performance against Ohio State in September and continued to dominate throughout the entire campaign. He's continued to add weight over the last year and checked in at over 250 pounds at the Reese's Senior Bowl. More from Jeremiah here. in the pass game, has an excellent get off. He can convert speed to power. He has quick hands and wins with a dip rip on the edge. He has enjoyed success with spin moves, but he gets a little bit too reliant on them at times. I love his effort to keep working and refuses to stay blocked. Lastly, in the run game, he knocks back tight ends at the point of attack. He can pop and separate to free himself for tackles. Very disruptive on stunts and games. Overall, Green is a very gifted pass rusher and more than holds his own against the run. Lastly, Dane Brugler on Mike Green had to say this. He said, too many people are hung up on Green's size instead of appreciating his edge speed, play violence, and the ways in which he impacts the game. He has serious juice as a pass rusher to bend, capture the corner, and finish at the quarterback. He might not have 35-inch arms to easily out-leverage blocks in the run game, but he plays with the pop to shock and separate, which allows him to impact the ball carrier. Also led FBS this year with 17 sacks. So the constant theme and the consistent theme among those draft analysts, and I share a lot of the same opinions, and it's this. He has a quick get off. He has really good bend coming off that edge, really good explosion. I like the array of pass rushing moves. He's underrated against the run. He's not just a pass rushing specialist. And the knock on him has been that he's undersized, yet he's weighed in at more than 250 pounds. If it weren't for the character concerns, I think we're talking about Mike Green as a player who's going to go inside the top 10. Because of those character concerns, he could fall to the Niners at number 11. At the NFL Combine, limited athletic testing for him because he didn't partake in a lot of drills, but at 225 pounds, he did 28 reps on the bench press. That's a very impressive number. As for what he did throughout his college career, suspended in 2022, so he didn't play that season. In 2021, he played 6 games for Virginia. Limited workload, of course. 1 sack, 2 pressures. The last 2 years, 2023, 9 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 30 pressures. The pressure numbers, impressive there. Goes to show you he was able to get after the quarterback. And then in 2024, one of the best seasons that any defender had in the college football landscape. 23 TFLs leading the country, 17 sacks leading the nation with 59 pressures, and disrupted too with those 3 forced fumbles. So, a difficult question to answer here because there is definitely some risk, and I like how the Niners are bringing him in. If you really like the player, yet you have some concerns about him, bring him in for a pre-draft visit and see if you like him. See what his personality is. So would you take Mike Green at number 11 overall? T for take, P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section right now. Our sponsor for today's show, our friends at Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game and the only DFS app that you should be using. It has more than 10 million active members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings, and all you have to do, pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Right now, when you play $5, you get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Pick more, pick less. Run your game with Prize Picks. And when you use that link down below, prizepicks.com/CLNS, you create an account, use the code CLNS, and you can get $50 instantly when you play $5, and then you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Some selections that we like for the upcoming football season: Jared Goff, less on the passing yards. Travis Kelce, less on the receiving yards. And then Jaden Daniels, less on the rushing yards. Get $50 when you play 5. It's a no-brainer. Sign up with Prize Picks today and run your game. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's San Francisco 49ers report. As for Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end out of Bowling Green State, in scouting him, fantastic, reliable hands. Rarely drops balls. And when you throw it into his vicinity, into his stratosphere, oftentimes he's coming down with that football. Very impressive. I do have some questions about him. Can he beat man coverage? Because I do have some athletic concerns. only ran a 4.7 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. He's also not a great blocker. And is he a tweener at only 6'3"? Might have to play fullback. Might not be a traditional tight end at the next level. Those are some concerns and some of the strengths that I've witnessed in scouting Harold Fannin in the pre-draft process. But man, you turn on the tape, and I know that he played at Bowling Green State, but his year in 2024, regardless of the level of competition, incredible. You know, in 13 games played as a tight end in an offense that prioritized getting the ball to him and finding ways to get him open, he was targeted 150 times as a tight end. We're not talking about an ex-boundary wide receiver, and he had 117 catches. He had nearly 1,600 yards, 13.3 yards per catch, 10 touchdowns, and look, 4 drops when targeted 150 times. That's where the good hands come from. Dane Brugler on Fannin has him as one of his top tight ends in this draft class that is a deep tight end draft class. In an offense designed to weaponize its tight end, Fannin transitioned from high school to safety, or high school safety to college, where he played tight end, and in 2024 had arguably the greatest tight end season in FBS history. Set the position's single-season record for catches, 117, and receiving yards, 1,555. He catches everything and shows a unique feel for creating as a ball carrier. That's another plus with Fannin. He can create with the ball in his hands, and that makes up for the lack of juice, the lack of speed, the lack of athleticism and overall size. But I just get really worried about this because when you thought about the production, you're thinking, oh, he could be a second or third round pick. But with the athletic testing, I just don't think that you can reach on the player that early. I think he's a day 3 guy. A 7.82 relative athletic score grade, only 6'3", 241, bench 225 22 times. Don't necessarily always care about that as a tight end, but you do need to block a little bit if you're playing tight end. The vertical wasn't good, the broad wasn't good, and then the 4.7 40-yard dash, just not fast enough. The arm length, 32 inches, so some scouts will look at that and they'll be like, not sure he can be a good blocker because he can't disengage. NFL.com scouting report from Lance Zierlein saying this: enigmatic prospect featuring record-breaking single-season catch production despite a straight-legged playing style. His lack of functional bend forces him on more linear tracks and cuts his route tree in half, but it doesn't keep him from getting around the field and through the pattern with good speed. His hands are automatic. He's a competitive route runner, competitive runner after the catch, but he needs to prove that he can beat tight press man coverage. He won't block much, but his ability to stretch the field from the slot and make the tough catches gives him a shot as a potential tight end too with upside. So obviously the Niners could be looking for a tight end too. I know they signed Luke Farrell in free agency, but if they want a depth piece and a player who they can develop, Fannin can be that guy. He's not going to beat you vertically, but he will come down with some contested catches because he is really tough at the catch point. But with all those concerns that I have, I think he's a day 3 pick. Obviously, the Niners showing some interest, though, in bringing him in for a pre-draft visit. Be sure to give me a follow, by the way, on social media, in addition to all of the Niners content that I put up here on YouTube, and we're hitting you with videos multiple times every single day. I also put out a lot of content on X and Instagram. It's at Chase_Senior.